And we are live. Welcome to today's Premier Experts live podcast interview. I'm your host, Ray Perez, and I'm so excited to be with you this Tuesday afternoon. I got a very special guest who's got a really interesting business. And if you haven't been joining us before on today's Premier Experts, we look for industry experts in all different niches. And we basically ask them questions about how they got to where they are and the success that they're having, the challenges that they had to break through, and really what has been their most successful assets to get them to that level of success that they have. And one of these industries has to do with automotive. And today's special guest is in the automotive industry, even though he didn't start in the automotive industry. He basically started as an attorney. And his passion and love for cars, like mine, got him into creating an automotive community and a very interesting business model, which I absolutely love. I want to actually attend his locations and check him out. So I'm very excited to have him on the show. And if you like exotic, fast, cool cars, if you like driving fast, then you're going to love this episode. Because this is what it's all about, but also how to become a successful entrepreneur, how to take your business to the next level, which whether you're looking to break those multiple six or seven figures, or even 8, 9, 10 figures, we have a variety of different guests on the show. And I'm just so excited that you're here with us. If you are viewing live, because we are actually doing this podcast live, if you are on Facebook, if you are on YouTube, drop us a comment. Let us know where you're at so we can say hello. I see Alex Ocampo. What's up, buddy? He says, cool. He sees us live. Let me know. Drop me a chat. Drop me a hello. Let me know what city or what country you're in, just so we can see who's on here. So without any further ado, we're going to go ahead and get started. And I'm going to bring on my guest, Brad, on in just a second here and be able to find out what a cool business model from a passion project that he's been able to create. So here we go. Let me bring him in. Let me add him to the stream. And Brad, are you there, buddy?
I'm here. I'm just trying to figure out how to do this live. I found you, but I'm going to click on you in a second. But go ahead. Let's start.
Okay. Well, while you're doing that, let's look. We got another comment. We got Eve from Apollo Beach, Florida. Welcome, Eve, to the live podcast interview. Thank you so much for tuning in on Facebook. If you're just joining us right now, whether you're on Facebook, whether you're on YouTube, or whether you're just listening to this recording, my name is Ray Perez. This is the Today's Premier Experts podcast. And today, I have a very special guest, my buddy here, Brad. Brad, how do you pronounce your last name, my friend?
Oleshansky.
Oleshansky. I always get it wrong. Oleshansky in the house. Thank you. I like to call him Brad O personally, but thank you so much for being on the show, Brad. How you doing there?
I'm doing awesome. We're here in rainy Michigan.
Rainy Michigan, but as the interview is going on, we're gonna hear some rumbles. We're gonna hear some motors. Why are we hearing that?
I'm sitting in my garage here at M1 Concourse, the project I built here in Michigan, Pontiac, Michigan, on the site of a former General Motors factory property. And there are actually cars on the performance track racing around right now. So it's not sometimes you get distracted, but it's a good sound when we're in the business that we're in here.
Now, when you say garage, I want you to clarify what you actually mean when you say you're in your garage.
Yeah, it's a great question. So some people associate a garage with a place you just keep your cars. A garage in my world, we call it a private garage. Some other people call it car condominiums, is a place where you do keep your vehicles, but you also have a place to entertain family and friends. Some people call it a man cave. Some people call it a diva den for women. But we like to call it a private garage. Really, it's a place to entertain family, friends, business associates, clients. And it sort of sits between your office and your home as a safe environment to really have fun. Oftentimes, people don't want to bring people to their primary residence. And many people have a storage problem for their vehicles.
Now, do you mind if I just share one little sneak peek of what the garage looks like?
Sure, absolutely.
All right, so everybody take a look at this, okay? This is one of, is this your garage?
No, this is a friend's garage. This is actually a friend of mine's wife's garage. After he bought 2 garages from me, his wife, who initially was a little skeptical, said, I love the lifestyle so much, I have to have my own garage. So she built this garage decorated. And then she said to her husband, I need to have some cars for my garage, and these are all her cars.
Wow. So this isn't a man cave. This is a diva den.
Yes, that's what some people call it. Yeah, but these are literally her cars. This particular person's got like 85 cars, and he keeps buying more garages from me because he expands his collection. And he's actually, we'll talk about my projects in other states, but he's going to buy one of the first garages in the project in Tampa as well.
Wow. So, and so you're obviously, like myself, I have multiple cars, not this many, I wish, one day. But for people who love cars, exotics, and obviously you can only drive one car at a time. Most of these cars, we keep them in the garage, we keep them temperature cooled. Instead of building out your own garage, they actually have an opportunity to hire you to custom spec out a beautiful garage where not only can they keep their cars, but they can entertain, they can hang out, and they can drive them, correct?
Correct. In some of our facilities, like the one we built here in Michigan, you not only can have a garage, and by the way, sell them as white boxes, and people can deck them out however they want. There's a ton of possibilities. But wow. In addition, here in Michigan, our facility we're building in Tampa, there is a driving component with a 1.5 mile performance track, and actually in Tampa, we're doing a off-road experience as well. And our projects in Columbus and Nashville, which we'll talk about in a minute, we're just doing garage communities with clubhouse environment, which is really the main concept. It's more about the garage, less about the driving. The driving is cool, but I'm sure you'll ask questions. The driving is really about corporate business, less about the garage owners driving their vehicles, although there is a club they can drive periodically. Very cool.
So kind of walk me through what we're looking at right now.
So this is another owner's garage. It's upstairs. This is a private garage. This particular person has a golf simulator, place to play his vintage guitars. This is not a huge space. It's actually 750 square feet, which is a great space. And he just decked it out really nice. These are upstairs, and this is downstairs. He's got his 4-track cars, actually 3-track cars. The Ferrari is a collectible car. Under the staircase to the right, I don't know if you can see it, there's a driving simulator. This particular guy actually races Ferrari Challenge, so he uses the simulator to practice for the races. And he uses our track to set his cars up to practice driving as well. So he's one of our more advanced owners that actually the track is a key component, unlike others. But again, it's the sky's the limit. This is another shot of that woman's garage here, which is incredible.
Wow. Really, what size is this garage?
So that garage is upstairs of that garage, by the way. This garage is about 4,000 square feet. And it's got entertainment space, got a bedroom, it's got an awesome kitchen. And really they entertain family and friends and clients here all the time and use it to keep their collection in a safe, controlled environment. Obviously, everything we do is new construction, sprinklered, secure, weatherproof, insulated. Florida will be hurricane-proof. And just, it's just an amazing way to have an entertainment environment that's not your primary residence and solve the storage problem. Most people can't build a large enough garage in their house in most cities in America now.
That's exactly what I was thinking. Oh wow, check that out. The wheel is and the gas is the faucet. That is amazing. Yeah. And you guys built all this out, right? Like you guys do all this?
So we do that. In this case, we did not. We allow the owners to do whatever they want. Half the owners actually use our services to build it out, but we don't require them. They can use their own contractor. This particular person had contractors they worked with on their home and vacation home, and they had the designers design it and finish it out. So it's incredible. Some of them are just extreme. And this one's beautiful, but there's some that are more basic and nice. This one's got wood floors. It's really, really cool. And I can go on and on. We have 250 garages here in Michigan. We're planning 350 in Tampa, about 175 in Columbus, and 175 in Nashville. And then we'll go on to other cities as well.
Wow, this is absolutely amazing. Like I personally, I have 3 vehicles right now, and I already have a storage problem. Like I'm at that point where if I want to get another car or I want to get another bike, I'm going to have to figure out something. So this is actually a beautiful alternative, not only for the purpose of storage, but for entertaining, hanging out, and having that space and not having to worry about having that in your home. This is wonderful.
Absolutely. And a lot of our people actually use these as their office, and you could put your studio in here, and there's no better environment. The people that use it for office say to me, there's never been a better office in their life, because most of the time you got to ask someone to come to their office and they're like, I don't want to go to an office building. This is an experience. And the people that actually work out of here and will do the same thing in our other facilities, it's incredible. And I mean, just look at this as another larger garage upstairs. and people, can use it as an office or just entertainment space.
I actually love that idea, Brad. Me personally, I could not think of anything better to have in my office than seeing my vehicles parked right there. I mean, I'm sure if you're listening right now and you're a car guy, when you walk away from your car, you like look at her, right? Like that. I do that. I walk away, and as I get to the elevator, I'm still looking, and So what better way than to be in my office and just be seeing my cars? Wow.
Yeah, someone just commented asking me about the Viper engine block. I think this is coming up. This is actually my garage here. This shot right here. A few of my cars.
Oh yeah, there we go. John is asking you, Brad, about the Viper engine block sync, and let's see here.
Yeah, I think it's coming up here. So
there we go.
It's behind behind my vault door. There it is.
Oh my God.
Yeah, we go a little crazy when you get the space. You start to dream up ways. Things you can do. And actually, several of our owners here are in the automotive industry, and one of them was the head engineer in Viper. And I said to him one day, "Can you give me an engine block to make a table out of?" He said, "Sure." And I had it sitting here. And then the guy who did some of the steel work in my garage said, "Oh, everyone does tables with engines." I'm like, "They do?" He said, "Yeah, let's make something cool out of it." So he actually crafted not only the sink, but everything in this bathroom, the light fixtures, the mirror, are all different components from that prototype engine for a Viper. So it's pretty cool.
Wow, this is absolutely phenomenal. I mean, I wanted to go visit you before. Now I'm like 100%. I'm coming to Michigan.
Yeah, it goes on and on. I mean, literally, people come here, they can't believe it. The pictures don't even do it justice because the scale when you come here. And we're really excited to take the concept. We'll be the first brand that takes it to many sites across the country under the same brand, the Motor Enclave. And then we'll have reciprocity, so our members in different cities can use the facility in other cities. So if you have a garage in Columbus, you can use the track in Tampa. If you're in Tampa and you want to go to an event or vacation in Nashville, you can go to events in Nashville, and so on. We've got a dozen other cities picked out.
And I would assume that this creates an amazing community aspect, right? Because I know that anytime I go anywhere and I see someone else who has an exotic vehicle, we always have this instant connection, and we build this rapport, and some great friendships and business relationships have come out of it as well.
100%. That's what I tell people that really people think this is a real estate business. This is not a real estate business. This is all about community and camaraderie. These are not inexpensive propositions, these garages, although the entry point is $100,000. So it's not crazy. People think this is all multi-million-dollar garages. But you can start $100,000 and go up to millions. But it's all about community. People say to me, "Well, it's too expensive for storage." I said, "Listen, I'll tell you where to store your car inexpensively down the street. This is you're buying this as a place to entertain with family, build new friendships, hang out with a bunch of people that have the same interests, and really be in a safe environment to enjoy yourself." Where do you keep these cars? Where do you drive these cars? And the thing about my customers there's a big difference between a guy that buys a Ferrari just as a status item. Most of my customers, the majority, are people that dream their whole life of having whatever car that is that they wanted in high school or they always aspired to. And this gives them a place not only to have the car, but to be with other people that have the same dreams and talk about it every day. My customers are not the people that just want to show off. The people that love the engineering, the design, the technology, the driving, and then the lifestyle. If you come here on any given day, there's dozens of people hanging out and enjoying themselves.
Yeah, I find that absolutely amazing, because one of the things that I've discovered for myself is whenever I spend more time with people that have these, let's call them dream cars, what comes out of those connections and relationships, I could not explain, right? For me personally, being able to have a place where all of that comes together into one is actually kind of hard to find, because unless we're doing a rally, unless we're doing something planned event, there's not a place where you can kind of come and meet other like-minded car enthusiasts. And this is awesome, Brad.
Yeah, and that's where the idea started. I was in other businesses. I came from the entertainment industry in Los Angeles. I worked built a digital marketing company here in Detroit in the healthcare space. And I was driving my car. I had a 51 Pontiac you saw in one of the pictures. And car people in most cities, actually everywhere there is a car scene. Mm-hmm. You got busy, you get ice cream, you go home. And then you're complaining like, I have no place to buy that car, keep that car. Or where do I go? You might go to Cars and Coffee, but that's like, once every few weeks.
Correct.
Like, this is like, my original business plan was like, how do you create a place where these people can gather 24/7, 365 days a year and enjoy themselves? And that's what sort of ended up as this, after a long journey of learning real estate development and trying to find a site. And this property here in Michigan was very coveted, and it was former General Motors factory in an amazing location, but it was very political. And the good news is it was a government process as part of the GM bankruptcy to find the best use of a former GM plant. And they liked my idea the best compared to putting another strip mall or industrial park. And it worked out. And same thing in Tampa. We're found an amazing site, very challenged site, but we're getting through. Hopefully, have break ground in January. And then in other cities, we're trying to locate them very close to where people live. That would be our customer. And that's the challenge. But once you get over that, once the municipalities understand what it is, they really want it. The first reaction is, oh, it's storage. This is not storage, like you said. It's important to understand that this is the kind of people they want to keep in their community. It's completely complementary to zoning restrictions in cities. And it's like you said, it's all about lifestyle and entertainment. And there's an amazing sort of nascent car scene in most markets that people don't realize. But when you create a place, it's that old adage, if you build it, they will come. It truly is. And as the car industry moves towards autonomy and electrification and all this stuff, there's going to be no place to keep these cars or let alone drive these cars, many years from now. So we're starting to build that network of sites to accomplish that long term. That's not our vision today, but we see that as an opportunity long term.
And so currently the first location, which we're seeing right now, which you're at, is Michigan location, correct? Correct.
It's Michigan. The brand was different. It was called M1 Concourse because the road we're on is M1. But as I expanded the vision, we wanted to create a name that could span multiple cities. So that's why I came with the Motor Enclave. And that's the word most people use, is like, this is an enclave. It's a private place that's safe and controlled. And it's, people can feel comfortable here. A lot of my customers, car people, this is what people don't understand. You might see a guy driving a Lamborghini and you're like, whatever word you want to use for that person, like that's, there's a show off. My customers often don't even buy the car they ever dreamed of because they're too embarrassed to drive around town or keep it, somewhere that's public. Half the people that bought garages here, this is the most mind-blowing stat about this business. Half the people didn't have the car when they bought the garage. They said, I always dreamed of having that car. Well, where would I keep it? Where would I drive it? I'm a doctor and I don't want to be seen. If my employees see me driving a Ferrari around town, they're gonna ask me for a raise. It's really the kind of people are very low key and really love the car or dreamed of having that vehicle that they want. It's mostly, I wanted that car in high school. I couldn't afford it. Now I can. But my wife won't let me have it because she wants her garage, doesn't want her to take up her garage spot, or I can't build an extra space on my house, or why would I want to keep it in some, junky storage facility? There's lots of reasons. I've learned a lot through this business, and it's fascinating. But the common denominator is just very solid, down to earth people, which is not what people expect at this end of the market.
Now, you have 3 new locations that you're working on, right? Tampa, Columbus, Ohio, and Nashville. Can you tell me a little bit about those?
Yeah, so those are our first cities. I chose those cities based on data. So did a lot of research looking at markets of where the vehicles are located down to zip code, certain types of vehicles, certain values of vehicles based on registration data and insurance data. I also looked at growth and wealth, and we kind of mashed that data together to create a heat map of the U.S., looking at the 2 concepts, which is private garage community and clubhouse without a track, and then adding the track element, which is the hardest element to find a piece of property for.
Of course.
But also, it only works in certain markets because, like I said, it's all about the corporate clients. So looking at the top of the list, they were spread across the country, these cities, but I chose Tampa, Columbus, and Nashville. One, because they're some of the highest ranked cities, but also there's the same flight path. So from an execution standpoint, I was very focused on, I want to be able to execute this and do it properly at the highest level. And I'd love to do Austin, Texas, or Scottsdale, or Denver. It's too far afield from my home base, which was Michigan, soon to be Tampa, that I really want to. I always think about how do you execute the highest level. My clients are another level of expectations for what I'm selling. So I didn't want to be flying to Texas every week to try and make something happen. So that would be our next batch. I call it kind of the West Coast. But for the next 3 to 4 years, we'll be focused on these 3 cities, possibly some ancillary sites nearby in those cities for the garage component as well. A huge market in virtually any city where there's decent population and wealth. But again, so those are 3 cities. So Columbus, Ohio is the first one to go. We're actually starting our sales there on October 1st. We got tremendous demand and interest. We're very excited about that market. We're actually in a community called New Albany, which is very high-end suburb of Columbus. Beautiful community, huge car scene, surprisingly, in Columbus. People don't realize that. And then next will be Tampa. Tampa is like the project here in Michigan, but much bigger, actually. We're doing not only up to 350 garages, a 1.5 mile racetrack, or performance track we call it, because we don't do races per se, and a 30-acre off-road experience or tactical driving course, which will be incredible. Huge off-road scene down in Tampa. And that project hopefully will break ground January, February next year. And then Nashville will be about 3 or 4 months behind that. We're just in the process of locking up a piece of property in Nashville. That market also is a home run, huge car scene, tremendous growth, and we're very excited. And everywhere we go, the beauty about this business is it's easy to talk about because people get excited about it and they're passionate. And then the most important thing for me now is I have proof of concept, being the largest facility in the world here in Michigan. And 7 years ago when I built this, people would look at me and say, "This is a great idea, but you're a whack job. This is nuts. Never going to happen. No, never. No one's done it like this. No one's done it this scale. There's a reason." And as an entrepreneur, it's always good to prove people wrong. But you talk to my customers, and you'll see these pictures are a testament. But also on my website, which I think you put up, we have testimonial videos that are incredible, showing the lifestyle of the garage owner, and it's really interesting to see how different people use the garages. So I encourage you to check it out on our website. I think it's on each. If you go to the project section for each city, you'll see the videos linked there.
Well, I love that story because I always say it's the crazy ones that change the world, right? It's the ones that nobody believes, that think they're crazy, and then all of a sudden, holy moly, this is like incredible, and it's changing how we do things. So it's not only amazing that you have that facility in Michigan, but you're about to launch 3 more in the next 24 months. It's absolutely phenomenal. So I can't wait to see the one in Tampa because I just came back from Tampa. I was just there. I'm only 4 hours away. I'm in Miami. So I have a question for you. I'm sure everybody else is thinking, how did you get into this passion project turn business, right? Especially coming from the law side, right? You were an attorney previously, right? Can you share a little bit about that background, how that happened?
Yeah, I think you got to go back to my childhood first because I was an entrepreneur as a kid. I always had businesses. I was actually started out, my first business was detailing cars. So I had an affinity for cars. I grew up in a house where my dad was building cars in our garage. And he always said, if you polish the chrome, you can drive the car. So I learned that way, but I kind of went astray. I actually got interested in the movie business, went to film school, moved to LA to make movies, made a lot of coffee. So I went to law school because everyone I met in LA were lawyers. Had a great journey, had a great experience and journey out there for 12 years, and had the opportunity to move back to Michigan and join a marketing company that was just about to explode in the healthcare space, and ended up growing that business. But I always had this affinity for being an entrepreneur, but never had the appetite for taking the risk. And fortunately, we sold that business in 2008. I stayed for 5 more years running that business as CEO for a public company. Kind of got jaded by public company life and the bureaucracy and the slow movement, and said I got to do something tied to my passion for cars. I kind of, if I'm going to work, if there's going to be another job and I work hard, why not try and do it with something I'm really interested in? Healthcare was great, entertainment was awesome, but it wasn't my passion. And I did a lot of research and tried to figure out what businesses could relate to my passion for cars. And I ruled out buying a car dealership and working in the automotive space. And I really liked the passion space and the lifestyle of the hobby, and found this concept called car condominiums and other, in Europe. And a guy had done it in Minneapolis very successfully. And he was very gracious to share some information in terms of how he did it. And I said, listen, if he can do it in Minneapolis with this, this number of the market, I could do it. But I added the element of the private track, combined the two, which no one had ever done, because most tracks are out in rural areas, so it's too far away from where people live. But I did it in a way that's not a racetrack, because you can't get a racetrack approved in the middle of an urban area.
Of course. And
then I created the corporate event business and really pieced together different components. And I'm a big believer in just testing and learning. So we tested things, we tried it. We did a food festival, and it was great. And we did some of that. Then we developed a motorsports club for private membership and corporate events and sponsorship, and just different things, just test and learn. And I, over 7 years, built it into a phenomenal business. But I was able to enjoy it. And it's real business. I think the most important things people say to me, like, oh, you're living your dream every day. You must be racing your car every day. I'm like, I've only been on the track like 3 times in the last 4 years, because it's real business. And I think the reason it's successful, and the reason I think the next iterations will be very successful, is I start out it being a business fundamentally and looking at, the P&L and things that matter. Most passion projects, unfortunately, if you got lots of capital, it's great. But I can tell you in my research, talking to all these millionaires, billionaires who built their passion project, whether it's golf courses, airplane hangars, private clubs, whatever, they overspend, overbuild, and afterwards they're like, you know what, that was a mistake. I should have looked at it as a real business from day one. And that's what we did here at M1 and what I'm doing in the next iterations. And we're very excited that you can actually make it a viable business that is profitable, can return a nice return to our investors, and go and really enjoy it as well with it being a real business.
Yeah, that's great advice, because a lot of people get excited about certain things that they're passionate about, right? And that's why we call it a passion project.
Yeah.
But I've typically haven't experienced someone having good profitability or success on a passion project when it's considered a passion project and not considered a business first that you have a passion for. So that's wonderful advice. I do appreciate that. For those of you that are listening and that have a certain passion for something, I believe it's great to mix those two, but I think it's important to look at it from a business perspective and make sure that the numbers make sense before you invest your time, energy, and resources into it. So I have another question for you. What would you say is your key or the key to success in your opinion?
I think there's several keys to success, and I mentor some young people, young folks, and talk to a lot of budding entrepreneurs. And I think number one is persistence. Going back to a comment you just made, which was very astute, it's the crazy factor. If someone tells you it's crazy, it's probably a good idea. Doesn't mean it's easy. Doesn't mean you'll succeed, but it's probably a reason why no one else has done it or done it the way you want to do it. So I tell people, and they're just shocked. I say, when someone says you're crazy, then you should head towards that direction. It's proven successful for me. I think my number one thing, and you're the king of it, besides being the king of global branding, is networking. I tell my kids, I think one of my kids or both my kids are listening probably, networking. And you never know who the person next to you on the bus is, who the person that you bump into at a restaurant. You need to network, keep their card, follow up, and try and keep a connection to everybody you meet. It's a lot of work, and that's what I've done my whole life. My entire success is built on my network. And I can call on people if I'm on vacation, if I have a problem. I can call on people if I have a business need. I've raised a significant amount of capital for the new business. I wouldn't say easy, but relatively quickly because of my connections and the trust people have in me. So I think networking, persistence, the crazy factor, but also risk taking. I wish I would have taken risk when I was younger. I tell a lot of people, like, when you're in your 20s, that's the time you should take risk. The problem is that you jump into getting a real job, and then you get a mortgage and you have a family. Well, you're not going to take a risk for a long time. I wish I would have taken the risk early on, because you're going to fail, and I've failed plenty of times in business. But when you got nothing to lose when you're young, why not do it then? And then you have the whole. I lost 25 years that I could have been growing businesses and having a lot more fun probably than I did in business. If I would have taken the risk early. And I think in light of COVID and the world we're living in and the virtual business, like you've proven that business can be truly virtual. There's so much opportunity, and the cost to start up a business is nothing. 20 years ago, it was like you couldn't afford it. Now you can do anything for $100.
It's so true. It's so true. And I believe that right now at this time is the greatest opportunity that mankind has ever had to become an entrepreneur, to start your own business, because of technology, because of the way that we can now connect, right? You could be on the other side of the world and we can still connect this way, right? So technically we can meet, connect, communicate with people anywhere at any time with such ease. We could pull up our cell phones and do the same thing that we're doing right now. And I just feel that anyone who thinks it's difficult or it's hard or I can't do that, you just don't realize how blessed you are. Because you go back, 10, 20, 30 years ago, they really had to figure out how to build a business, and there weren't these resources, right?
To do what we're doing today would have cost $20,000 for this one little session, editors and studios and all this stuff. And it's, you got a lot of investment in your equipment and the process to set it up. But it's still nominal. It's peanuts compared to what it used to be. Anybody can start a business and even if you're selling stuff online, I mean, I think we were at a conference recently together in Sarasota. Half the people are selling stuff online, and the numbers are mind blowing. What people can do with one person working out of their house, so you just got to go for it. You got to try it, and it's not nothing. Nothing comes easy. That's the thing. People think it's easier, lower cost of entry. Still got to work. That's the only thing a lot of people don't understand. Is like, start a business, but it's called work for a reason. You make a really good point there to clarify. It's not that it's easy, it's there's so much opportunity available at your fingertips to not be able to have an excuse of why you can't. Now you still got to work your butt off. You still got to be persistent, like you said. And a reason I believe we're the crazy ones is because we're willing to do what most people are not willing to do. And one of those things is, I love it. Entrepreneurs are the only crazy ones that are willing to work 100 hours a week not to have to work 40 for someone else.
That's a great analogy. There's several books that mention stuff like that. Like there's a famous book, I can't remember the author, but the concept, but I think the book's called Gazelles. But it's, we're low cost labor. When you work for yourself, you're low cost labor, because I can work 20 hours a day and, sure, it costs me money, but I'll work, as long as it takes, and it's low cost. If I had to hire someone to do what I do, or what you would do, or what an entrepreneur does, you couldn't afford it. So you're free labor. So take advantage of it and apply it. But it takes you got to grind it out.
So Brad, we got a comment from your buddy Brian. He says that you were a very successful DJ when you were young.
This is why you can't put live streams on Facebook.
No, but he said he's been your friend for over 40 years, and that he's seen you bring the M1 business from idea to reality, and he is very proud of you. And this is a great interview. So
that's great, and thanks to Brian, a good friend. We've got a lot of great friends and a handful of friends, a very small group that we've been together. We try and see every month and have dinner we've been friends for 35 plus years, no, 40 plus years. And Brian and I that was one of my first businesses. We actually had a DJ business for birthday parties. And I think the only party we did was his sister's birthday party. She was probably 7 years old. But we spent a lot of time building an incredible DJ setup. Back then, it was nothing like now. It was literally like a boom box that you see in like rap videos. And it was horrible, but we loved it.
That's awesome. That's great. So here's a question. And this one, for me, it's always an interesting one because everybody's different. But what would you say motivates you? What drives you?
It's a great question, and someone asked me this question a week ago. It's a personal friend, and I think it's winning. I think it's accomplishing. The beauty about this business is you create something you can see the tangible results of. A lot of people's things in business you don't see. Like when I was in healthcare, we impacted patients' lives. Ultimately, we may have saved some lives. We may have, we weren't curing cancer, but we were promoting certain medicines, right? But I can't touch the patient and know that it worked or not work. Here, when I create this idea, I can see it. Right now I'm sitting in this place I built. It will be here probably hundreds of years. People are enjoying themselves every day, and there's nothing like it. That's sort of the end result. I'm driven financially, but it's really not the goal anymore. Clearly want to get rewarded monetarily. However, it's really about, and it sounds cheesy, like I love making people happy. This is a business where my clients, I say to people, I've never been in a business where everyone's happy. And I think they're happy because I perform I execute the highest level. However, this isn't something that I'm not selling something everyone needs. It's something they want. And for once in their lives, this is the kind of thing where everyone says, I'm going to buy that Corvette when I'm 65 and retire. I give them a place to not have to put it off and enjoy it. And especially in light of what's happening in the world and the pandemic and every craziness going on, you never should delay that gratification. Listen, you got to do it within your means. But if you can go enjoy yourself, and we provide an entry point for everybody. You can either buy a garage, which, as I said, is not inexpensive. You can join our club. There's different levels. You can come to a free Cars and Coffee and bring your car. And people say, oh, you only want fancy cars. If you come to our Cars and Coffee here in Michigan and our future facilities, we have everything from $500 Volkswagens to $5 million, exotic cars. And I want an entry point for everybody. You can come Cars and Coffee, have a free cup of coffee, not spend a dime. You can buy a t-shirt or a hat, or you can join a driving school, or you can go on to buy a multi-million-dollar garage. There's something for everybody. And it's, you know, it's interacting with those people that thank me for letting them enjoy themselves. There's no business like that where someone thanks you. I mean, it's just the best.
Well, I love that you share that, because one of the things that I've discovered for myself over time as being an entrepreneur, and regardless how much money I make, how successful, how many cars, whatever, the one thing that I've truly felt for me personally is the fulfillment inside from serving others, right? So kind of like you shared about how when people are like, wow, like I'm so happy and proud of this, and you were able to create that for them, you were able to bring that to life. That's the fulfillingness of service for others, right?
100%. It's the best part of the whole business. And even now in the new cities, I mean, some of these, what happens is once the word gets out, you get skeptics who say, that'll never happen. And I just keep my head down and execute because I've proven it will happen. And then you get early adopters who are like calling me every day. When can I give you my money? When can I buy my garage? When can I select it? I want to get there. And I'm like, it's a year away. They're like, it doesn't matter. I want to just give you the money and lock in that unit. I want unit number 2. And there's no business like this where they're so passionate, so excited. And I think, you know, my customers are on the garage component, are people that work their butt off their whole life. And yes, they have nice houses. They might have a nice car, but generally they're hardworking people. And it's not all billionaires. Most of my clients are professionals, doctors, lawyers, entrepreneurs. We also have guys that 3-4 buddies will buy a garage together, and they were employees at Ford Motor Company. So it's just that passion that they love it and they want to be part of it. And back to what you originally zoned in on, which is 100% accurate, community. Everyone's clamoring for community. And also the other benefit of the pandemic is people want trusted networks, smaller group settings, private, you know, places. So I think we're going to benefit from that sort of shift in environment a little bit.
So if our listeners and our viewers want to learn more about the Enclave, they want to connect with you, they want to find out about the garages, the cars and coffee, they visit the motorenclave.com. Is that correct?
Yes, motorenclave.com. Look us up on Instagram and Facebook at the Motor Enclave. And we post a ton of cool lifestyle content on our Facebook feed, and we'll start promoting construction developments. But there's also a VIP form you can fill out on our website to stay in touch as well via email. So we try and adapt to every channel.
That's awesome, man. Well, Brad, I want to thank you so much for taking the time to be on the show with me and sharing like your passion, your business, and your love of not only cars, but serving others. So thank you, my friend. Appreciate you so much.
Thank you so much for having me, and keep up the good work. You're doing an amazing job.
Thank you. Thank you. And thank you for tuning in to today's Premier Experts podcast. Whether you are listening to us on the recording, you're live with us on Facebook or YouTube. Thank you guys for joining us, and visit todayspremierexperts.com for all our previous episodes and this full episode with Brad as well. So thank you guys so much. Have a wonderful day. God bless.